Cool. Yeah. So, morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming to listening to me talk about Sentinel. I'll try not to drone on too much because I'm quite passionate about this product. I'm a security CSA with Microsoft. I fit into the GPS space, so kind of a lot of acronyms there. So CSA, Cloud Solutions Architect. GPS is Global Partner Solution. So I work with Cloud Direct and a bunch of our other partners at building out repeatable practices or managed security service providers or SOCs or SIM solutions and all that good stuff. I've come from what Jake just said, more of the red team area, but more from a central government side before I joined Microsoft. So I've kind of used to playing in the red team, and now I've kind of jumped across to the blue team side with, I guess, SOCs and SIMs and defending against threats. So today I'm going to talk about Sentinel, but first of all, what is Microsoft security? What we're looking to do. You've probably kind of heard of the NIST framework or ISO and kind of the wheel that goes round, but Microsoft have defined it into protect everything, simplify the complex, catch what others miss, and kind of grow your future. So, what does that really mean? So, a lot of customers, vendors, partners, you name it. I've been pretty much with most industries. Understanding what assets you got, right? A lot of people don't understand the assets they've got, the configuration level, what patching level they're at. So, if you don't understand what assets you got, how are you going to protect them? Across the Microsoft security stack, that holistic view, you're able to start identifying what assets you got, the configuration level you got, and then knocking on to that secure score and knocking out risk assessments, simplifying the complex. So what does that mean? Microsoft adds a layer of artificial intelligence and machine learning that's continually evolving. And what does that do to the security SOC analysts or the security engineers? That reduces alert fatigue. There's so much noise at the moment. There's unbelievable. Everything is connected. Hang on. Am I still sharing? I thought I just changed that. I am still sharing. Okay.
Cool. Yes, you're still sharing. Yep.
Yeah, cool. So simplify the complex. Yeah, so we're working in that area and catch what others miss. So that machine learning, that artificial intelligence. You've got Microsoft threat hunters or the Mystic, the DAR teams. We've got some skin in the fight. So these guys and girls are going around, trawling the dark web. We've just acquired Risk IQ, so they're trawling the web with their web crawlers, linking how APTs or advanced persistent threats relate to each other, the web, the IOCs, which are indications of compromise, or these days we kind of refer to them as IOAs, so indications of anomalies or indications of activities. So where typically incidents or alerts are not mapping directly to the micro attack framework because it's distributed, there's distributed systems, everyone's working hybrid, you're potentially missing certain activities. So using machine learning, artificial intelligence, we're looping that together to give that kind of cross view and then grow. So Microsoft is continuously investing in cybersecurity. I think the number was $20 billion over a period of time. That's a mixture of people, companies they're acquiring, growth and depth within the products and technologies that they've got today. So it's an evolving area. Just going to cover some naming and changes. Microsoft is renowned for changing the names of the products. So this was last year. So people may be familiar with the name changes, but I always stick this in just to kind of update, because if you're searching on Microsoft Docs, most of the documents now have changed to the new names. What they've done, where it's just as they've stuck Microsoft in front of it pretty much. So it won't take too much time on that. So as you probably heard across the week, and as you're probably aware, everything now is distributed. It's expanded estates. COVID has kind of forced us down that route. So there's a lot of hybrid working, a lot of remote working, but a lot of systems now that traditionally weren't connected to the IT infrastructure are. So we're talking about IoT devices, OT devices, your home devices, whether that's your lights, your heating, whether you're in the office and it's your VoIP, your printers, the doors, the key car entry systems, everything's connected, and every system is a complex system. So we're getting into the realms of system of systems and integrated and distributed systems, across the globe. So, if you're talking about traditional SOCs, these SOC analysts and managed service providers, they have to monitor all of these assets, and you can imagine the amount of data that's being passed across and shared. It's potentially easier for an attacker to kind of look at that threat landscape and target individual assets, and then that to be missed traditionally, that would have been missed. So what is Microsoft doing, and kind of why Microsoft? So these numbers are particularly older now, so it's probably a little bit more than this. But the one for me that's quite key, right? Analyzing 24 trillion signals every single day. So I touched on earlier, I've come from central government, so that was UK MOD. We had the luxury of having defence intelligence to kind of give us updates and input. I can tell you now, they didn't analyze 24 trillion signals a day. So Microsoft is absolutely huge. That sheer number of volume of traffic that they're analyzing, um, you know, blocking 32 billion emails last year. So that's pretty much an email for every person on the planet. If maybe there's six emails per person on the planet, tracking 40 nation states, so that's APT, so advanced persistent threats. So what are they doing in that area? So that's mapping, what does their infrastructure look like? What TTPs, so the tactics, procedures, and all the rest of it that these APTs are using. At the end of the day, these are humans operating ransomware, operating infrastructure. They leave footprints. Unfortunately, as humans, we're nature of the beast. We kind of work in patterns. We always use the same thing. So these APTs, once they leave a pattern or a signature, they're able to be tracked. And Microsoft is currently tracking, over 40 of those. Currently, pretty much covering companies, so small, medium, all the way through to the big enterprises across the globe in pretty much every industry. So they're doing all right at the moment. And this is the security stack. So Microsoft is holistic, is end to end. We're not just trying to sell you a SIM product. It is part of a portfolio to give you that defense in depth, give you that zero trust. The product sets form a solution. So you've got the IAMs up front, so Azure Active Directory and all that, so identity and access management, threat protection. So that's the area that I'm touching on today. So what are we doing to protect against threat? In terms of the MDR, so the managed detection response, or the extended detection response, and then where are we putting all these logs? Who's monitoring the logs? Who's doing the analysis of the logs? And how do we reduce the alert fatigue on SOC analysts? Cloud security, information protection, government, risk management, compliance. I'm not going to cover them all because today I really want to focus on the threat protection. So some of you already may know this, but I'm just going to keep this at a high level for the first few slides. So, what is a SIM? So a security information and event management tool or product. Simply, it is a simple concept. It just aggregates logs from multiple sources. It allows you to perform some analysis on those logs from multiple sources and correlate security events and incidents from them. It adds a layer of threat detection. So, with Microsoft Sentinel, as we're going to touch on in a little bit, we push in our own threat detection, threat information, cyber threat risk, whatever you want to call it. But some companies, some partners will enrich that data themselves because they've got some specializations in certain industries that they're tracking certain threat actors. So if you're a small company versus a critical national infrastructure provider, you may have different threat actors. So you may be tracking different threats. Your estate may be completely different to someone else's. So your threats are going to be slightly different and threat actors may be different. It allows you to perform some level of investigation and threat hunting. So as SOCs mature, they can allow you to go from your tier 1 to your tier 3. Some very mature SOCs do reverse malware engineering and then provide that information back to the community. Then, moving on. So what SOA is security orchestration and response. So you've got an incident, you want to add some level of automation to it. You want to respond. You want to isolate a box, a VM server, you name it. And what is that response? Are you going to block that email account? Are you going to block the user? Are you going to block that account or the virtual machine or the endpoint from connecting to the internet? You're going to segregate it. What are you going to do? There's a lot of options that you can do from a response. You hear a lot of people talking about SIM and SOCs interchangeably. And the reason why a SIM is normally the heart of a SOC. So SOC, Security Operations Center. Within there, you can have your tier 1, your tier 2, tier 3 analysts. You may have threat hunters, threat intelligence people, reverse malware engineers. You may even have red teamers or purple teamers, which is a combination of both. And these people work together to monitor or protect and respond to the estate that they're monitoring typically working 24/7, 365 days a year. You do get some socks that follow the sun, so they move around the globe depending on the time. And you do get some socks that work 9 to 5 as well. As you're kind of working with your kind of vendor and your partner with that, that's kind of the SLA you guys are kind of agree with them on that. So, why is SIM important? Why is it the heart of a SOC? So it allows you to detect incidents, which is key. This is kind of the primary bread and butter of a SIM. You need to be able to protect and detect incidents. So if you can't detect them, how are you going to protect? How are you going to lock down your state? And how are you going to respond? You just can't. If you're firing up just Wireshark and seeing the packets flying around, a really good SOC analyst can detect incidents just by seeing that traffic, but most can't. So you need a tool to be able to visualize that happening. Complying with regulations. So depending on what industries you're in, you need to be able to protect the estate, monitor the estate, and keep and maintain logs for a period of time, depending on what industry you're in and regulations you need to comply with. Incident management. So if there was an incident, a SIM is normally the first tool that the incident manager will use. You'll have incident responders that will go and respond to certain incidents, and they will need logs and alerts to see what's happened to date, if the threat actor or attacker is still in the estate, and what's the plan, what are we going to do to kind of kick them out and kind of make sure that estate is now secure. Customized rules and playbooks. This is more focused towards Sentinel, so it's out of the box. So the community are developing rules and playbooks. You can just go on GitHub and see what's there. So it's open source with that respect, that people can contribute to kind of Sentinel. But those customized rules and playbooks can be customized specifically for your estate, which is really key. So although there's a lot of stuff out of the box you can use, the partner and your MSSP will certainly be doing customized rules and playbooks which work for them. Digital forensics, again, really key here. So unfortunately, the incidents do occur, and companies then would like to try and understand who did what, when they did it, how they did it, provide that to potentially law enforcement or organizations. And to do that, you need to have a trawl of the logs. So where you're going to get those logs from, you can get them from your SIM, your cold storage, or your archives, wherever the logs go to when you're going to finish with them. You need to be able to have your logs and to perform digital forensics. If you've got no logs, we can't detect what happened and how maybe to protect the estate going forward. Sophisticated attack. So when we're going down this route, we're talking about APT, so advanced persistent threats, nation states that are performing very sophisticated attacks. So as the defense mechanisms catch up and are really advanced today. So I've been in the industry for a long time. Today, the defenders have got a good set of tools, but attacks are always evolving and a lot more advanced, and are targeting various parts of the organization, maybe even targeting you as an individual with a phishing email or social engineering. They could be trying to get information from your estate to be able to target. KC there, it just refers to the Lockheed Martin kill chain and the MITRE ATT&CK framework. So a SIM is able then to bring all this information together and focus it visually of where on the MITRE ATT&CK framework that this attack may be occurring. So early doors, if people are pinging the network, just kind of tapping on the door, just prodding around to see what you've got, kind of what operating systems you've got using, what configuration you've got doing, just using Nmap and all that kind of good stuff. Then the attack, is there attack? Maybe someone's just having a sniff around, versus if people are moving data out of your estate to a compromised account or just extracting data, that part of the attack is very far advanced and you need to respond quite quickly to kind of lock that down. Okay, so just giving you some graphicals on here. I'm just going to skip through this quite quickly just to show you some of the suite. So this is mapping to the MITRE ATT&CK framework, so we can all reflect back on this. So we've all seen the phishing emails, we've all seen people click on links, then nasty things happen. This shows you the Microsoft suite. So it's the N365 Defender end-to-end, or the individual products as named there. So Defender for Office 365 will definitely lock down phishing emails. You can perform certain configurations on your partner can help you do that and monitor that estate from an MDR, so managed detection response capability, all the way through then to Defender for Endpoint, where if there were command controls or certain EXEs or executables being installed on your endpoint, Defender for Endpoint would allow you to kind of stop that happening in the first instance, give alerts to your MSSP or your SOC, and then be able to respond to that, to follow that trail back. What's happened? How is this got you? So there's two types of attack there when we get into Defender for Identity. There's the artistic attack that I like to call it. So the attacker is very elegant in the way they attack, and then the other one is kicking the door down, which is the brute force. So people are absolutely slamming the accounts, trying to put in usernames and passwords, using dictionary attacks or word lists, trying to get in. There's ways with Microsoft Defender for Identity as well, where I was configured to kind of reduce that attack vector and stop accounts becoming compromised. So that's where identity comes in. So whether you're trying to log in from the UK in 1 minute and all of a sudden you've got an IP out in Brazil trying to get into that account, all those alerts and logs feed back into the SIM, and the SOC analysts are able to detect and respond to those certain attacks. And then you've got Defender for Cloud Apps, which comes as part of the M365 Defender portfolio, or individually, and that kind of allows you to protect the documents that you're storing in the cloud, the cloud apps that are within the remit of Defender for Cloud to protect them. Really, really good slide because it allows you to graphically show you how an attack typically matures. This is typically, I'd say 80 to 90% of normal attack vectors. You get a phishing email or you get a link that you click on. From there, you're directed to a malicious website. Something's dropped onto your endpoint, your server, your cloud instance, and from there, the attacker will move laterally, try and get privilege escalation through more accounts, processes that are running, and then try and get to their end goal. That end goal will be different depending on your threat attacker. So an APT, so Advanced Persistent Threat Nation State, may just sit in your network until the time's right for them to do something. Script kiddie is just going to go play around, see what they can do. No real intent. They just want to demonstrate their skill set, maybe get some money, and then through to the organized criminal gangs that may be targeting your organization for money. Because ransomware as a service is a real thing these days. People are paying a lot of money to have hackers, pretty much targeting organizations just to make millions of dollars, because organizations are unfortunately paying for this. That's a personal choice whether an organization pays it or not, which I'm not going to get into today. But states are, this is the traditional challenges a SOC, Security Operations Center, normally sees. So, I've been there and seen this. These are real today. So the sophistication of threats, huge. These are just always evolving. As we've talked about, the states are becoming very noisy. You got people at home, you've got things on-prem, you've got stuff in the cloud, you may have IoT or OT devices connected to your customers, maybe in the network, a B2C or a B2B type environment. You may be sharing information with third parties, supply chain, very noisy. IT deployment and maintenance. So typically where SOCs and SIMs have been on-prem, you have to stand up a lot of infrastructure to support that because just sheer number of data and computing processing that you need. Again, cost of infrastructure, the timeline of projects, the project lifecycle, software design lifecycle process of getting this all set up and run. And who are you going to get to manage these SOCs? Because security skills are in short supply. Unfortunately, the UK, we are struggling to get enough people through in cybersecurity and getting the right skills. And then when you do skill them up, they move to another company. So it's really, really hard. Lack of automation. So a long time ago, this was all done manually, and you'd have to kind of trace through packets and endpoints and IPs and URLs and all that kind of good stuff to see what was going on. That has changed, thankfully. And products are disconnected as well. So you may have endpoints in your estate that are not managed. They may not be of the right configuration level. You may not know how many products you have in your environment, or people have just maintenance engineers or third parties or suppliers have come in and bridged maybe an air gap. That's why I hate the word air gap. No system is ever air gapped. But it's traditional SOC challenges are slowly starting to evolve with the new products on the marketplace. This is kind of where Sentinel starts to come in. So it's taking your SecOps, your security operations team, merging that with the cloud and adding a little bit of artificial intelligence on the top of it. And that's where Sentinel kind of comes into its own. It's really easy to deploy. Getting your proof of concept up and running. Your MSSP and partner can do this pretty much in no time. They'll own it, demonstrate the capability and the benefits of it. So, I'm very biased. Obviously, I'm from Microsoft, so I'm going to kind of give you all the positive spin on it. But it's not just us saying that. Gartner have kind of put us in that magic quadrant across access management, security brokers, information endpoint. All this kind of good stuff, and also Forrester as well. So you see it, Microsoft evolving, not just saying that we're a security provider, being demonstrated and being compared with our peers in the right areas. So it's personally, I think it's a really good product. But yeah, the third parties and independents are just justifying it as well, which is quite key. And yeah, it's ever evolving as well. So that was Q4 2020. I think the Forrester and Gartner pushed out something similar the last month, which again it's still in that magic quadrant, which is really good.